We got Kings Jazz tonight. We'll be on pre and post on our way to San Francisco to the NBC studios right now to get ready for it. It's an interesting game. Kings coming off a win against Portland last night.
Yeah.
That was a solid win.
Yes. A win's a win.
They didn't have a 26-point lead that went down to 1. They had to escape or lost the game. It's like, okay, clunky first half.
Not everything's going to be perfect, you know? But yeah, it was definitely...
You won by double digits.
That, and it's not like... It wasn't just stretches of good basketball, too, which I felt like in the first 2 games. It was stretches of really bad, stretches of really good. And with this, there was more, I guess, in the second half, consistency of good basketball.
Yeah, that third quarter was great. Now tonight, you get the Utah Jazz, who lost last night in Dallas. They are 0-3, so both teams coming off second half of back-to-back. The numbers regarding Utah have me a little concerned. They are shooting, so far, on the season, 38%.
Oh, yeah, I already forgot that.
They're also shooting just 25% from 3. So odds are they're going to shoot it a little bit better. And like we saw them in the preseason, I think one of the keys tonight, like, you got to make sure Sexton and Keontae George aren't killing you. And that's going to be a lot of pressure on the guards to show up. De'Aaron's got to be locked in. Herter, who I think has played some really good defense the last couple of games.
Absolutely.
Last night had 3 deflections. The game before that, 6. He had 3 blocks last night. Seems like he's in the right spot. It's like the team defense has to be locked in tonight, because if those guys get going, then all of a sudden it's going to be tough.
The way that they are capable of penetrating into the paint, right? Like, you want to make sure that perimeter defense, that perimeter pressure is there. But let's say that they do break that. Okay, the rest of the team needs to make sure that they're stepping up. They're in the right place at the right time. Like Kevin Herter, having your hands in the passing lanes, getting deflections, just being big, taking up more space.
I'm going to play a game called Who Leads the Kings in Deflections?
Deflections. I know this answer. I think I do.
Who?
DeMar DeRozan.
3.7 per game. DeMar DeRozan, 3.7 a game. And they've got like 5 guys over 2 deflections per game so far. Early season stats, I get it. But that's the type of activity they're going to have as a team defense when you don't have a whole bunch of lockdown guys. You don't have a ton of size. Markkanen is obviously a player to watch tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Last 2 games has been held under 20 points. Great.
So wait, you say Deuce is obviously saying that because he thinks he's just going to all of a sudden go off.
Well, my point is, like, Utah's not shooting the ball well, and Markkanen's been held under 20. Like, maybe they get in some sort of rhythm. But I thought Keegan in that preseason game had some nice defensive moments against Markkanen, so he's going to have to show up again and do that.
Well, you even saw De'Aaron at a couple points in the game, have Markkanen. And what he did a great job of is just sit down and stance got low, so when Markkanen put the ball on the floor, digging, being active. And that's, it's just going to take a lot of activity. So it doesn't matter if the Utah Jazz on paper look like a bad team. And I know for so many out there, they're like, well, this is a game you're supposed to win. I do not feel like that yet in the Western Conference, especially with the inconsistency we've also seen with the Kings. So show me that you're going to be that good team that we can go into these games and say, they got to win.
Start of a 4-game road trip. Both teams on the second half of back-to-back. I think this is the type of game, like, you don't have to win by like 15 to 20 like last night. Okay, you know what you need to do? You just need to win. Find a way to win. And we mentioned Utah not shooting the ball well. Well, maybe they have some heavy legs after last night too. Like, okay, like, get into these guys. I think a quick start's essential. You could suck the life out of them a little bit. That, I think, would be big for Sacramento.
They could also be playing some inspired basketball, not only because they've been losing, but also losing a teammate like they did.
Taylor Hendricks going down with that gross-ass injury.
So sad.
He's going to be done for the year, and that's a tough injury to come back from. So, they compete. Like, that's the thing. They're well coached. Will Hardy's a good coach. They've got weapons. It's not going to be a walk in the park.
Nope.
But I'm eager to see what Sacramento looks like. Again, another team that has some size. You got Markkanen, who's got good size. Walker Kessler with some good size. So I'm eager to see what it looks like. Can they build off some of the things they've been doing well the last couple of games and lock in defensively?
Yeah, building off of the things that they did well. And I think something else that we mentioned, that you specifically mentioned last night, and I just love this point, was looking at the Kings offense the way that the pace was when DeMar would bring the ball up compared to obviously De'Aaron, Kevin, or Sabonis. It's like 2 different types of pace, and they just need to figure out a balancing act, because I think it's important to play at DeMar's pace at times, because he is so strong at getting to the line, drawing those fouls, shooting those mid-range shots, playing at his pace. But then the other part is that other style of play that is so efficient, so dominant at times when they're pushing it down the floor, whether it's Domas just 0.5 or De'Aaron utilizing his speed.
Yeah, and I went back and watched some of the game from last night this morning because I'm a sicko.
Yeah,
and
it's gross.
DeRozan in that second half, I think it was in the fourth quarter, maybe late third, he brought the ball up and he pushed, and Sabonis set a screen. You know, DeRozan drives with the ball low to the ground, sucks in the defender. He's got like 3 guys around him, kicks it out to Herter for 3. So that was an example of like, oh, that's a quick decision. And, you know, to be honest, I think it's, I mentioned it last night, like DeMar is getting used to playing at this Kings pace.
Yeah.
They want to play at, but like I think the Kings teammates are getting used to maybe at times like, oh, okay, this is the time where we slow it down. That doesn't have to be a bad thing. I think it makes the Kings a little more unpredictable. I think it makes them more challenging to guard when you've got different guys bringing up the ball, different guys initiating, different paces. I think that can be a really good thing, especially with teams like yesterday, Portland, that first half, like they were switching everything when the Kings were trying to get off-ball movement with like running the offense through Sabonis, and that's hard to deal with when you're trying to cut. It's like when the defenses are communicating so well that they're just switching and you're not getting the same type of looks. So the fact that you don't just have one style of like beating someone, I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I am with you on that. So I'm excited to see how the Kings play in Game 4.
Game 4. We'll be live after the game. You've got predictions, drop them below. What do you want to see tonight against Utah? We'll talk to you guys tonight after the game.